All right, welcome to today's Human to Human podcast. Today I've stolen it over from Zana, and the theme is retail's revival, humans, automation, and omnichannel. Oh my. Today's
That's a
guest,
mouthful.
I'm glad I nailed it the first time. Today's guest is none other than John Andrews over at Ricoh, heading some really cool innovation. So I'll pass the mic over to him to give a quick intro.
Hey, I'm John Andrews and talking about retail, one of my favorite subjects, and glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. John, you haven't been a guest before, but we dive right in fast and furious. So I think we're
Love it.
starting strong. We're going to go with trends and challenges in retail and really get an overarching perspective on how retail's really evolved over the years.
Sure. Retail, as we know, is always changing. Probably changing faster now than at any time, and at least in my career, which has been a few years now. It's an interesting time, right? So we had a pretty smooth kind of transition going to e-commerce, and then COVID happened. And then we had a really quick transition going to all kinds of shopping behaviors because some of them were driven by legislation, some of them were, all kinds of things happened. But basically, you brought a lot more people into the e-commerce and the alternative kind of channel uh, situation. And then COVID kind of stopped and technology kept going. So now there's all kinds of things going on. So retail post COVID is sort of settling into, if you look at curves on e-commerce kind of spiked and then it fell, but it's on the exact same trend line it was on before. But we had a lot of new technology, a lot of stuff come into it. And if you look at the growth of things that are kind of alternative channels, same thing. You see the same thing. So the biggest players have really activated, really kind of delivered omni-channel now. So if you think about Walmart, Target, Kroger, you think that Lowe's, right? They're happy to deliver your stuff. They're happy for you to order it online and come pick it up at store. Happy to buy it at store, order online, return it. So doesn't matter, right? They've really kind of started to deliver that omni-channel expectation. They've really had to. So you talk about the trends that are going on. There's three big things. No retailer has enough people. If
Yeah.
they're just they're looking for people, and they're just not there because a lot of the people that they relied on have other options. The gig economy. There's a lot of things that they can do that they can kind of they've got competition for those jobs. They're really dealing with some heightened consumer expectations. Emily, I know you and I have talked before a little bit about Amazon. Gave the little anecdote that my wife and I are having dinner with friends, and we're sitting outside. We've got an outdoor umbrella, and it's a little faded or something. I'm like, well, we should get a new one. We ordered from Amazon. By the time before our dinner was over, the replacement cover was there. I mean, that's just crazy. And
Which
now
is to
that's
compete.
not everywhere. Decent metro, but not a huge metro. I live in Raleigh. It's not. Pretty
Yeah.
sure most people have to look on a map to see where that is. And then I think that the final thing that retailers are really dealing with is thinking about how do I bring all of this together to make it one consistent experience for shoppers. So anyway, that was a long answer. Those are what I see, talking to people being in the space every day. And that's what I think people are dealing with.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. We underestimate the explosion of new services and experience that came out of
Mm-hmm.
COVID. The pickup, the drop off, the anything in between, the quick
Yeah.
shipping. A lot of innovation has happened, and I think that segues really well into, the human touch and its part in modern retail. I think we talk a lot about, Amazon being so hands off, right? And they do it well.
Yeah.
Modern retail doesn't have that luxury. They can't compete just on price and SKU. So what are the advantage of adding that human touch and shopping assistance in retail? Is there still a priority to that?
I think it's everything right now. If you think about the competitive advantage that, the way you fight Amazon right, is humans, right, and is people. And I saw we're getting ready for the podcast. I saw my Amazon driver, through my window, come up and drop something off. But I mean, I don't have any interaction with them. If they need something, I can go back. But when I go to a store, I'm usually going today because I want to talk to somebody, or because I want to ask questions, or it's a different experience. For most, of our consumable purchases and things like that come from Amazon. A lot of them are on replenishment. I'm not even thinking about them. But if I want a meal, I'd like to talk to the butcher or the
Yeah.
baker. If I am buying some home automation piece for my home, I want to talk to one of the, Lowe's has the red vests, and they're the subject matter experts that can help you with, anything there. So it's a great opportunity to really bring forth the human factor in retail, which is going to increasingly be lost. Now, when I don't want that experience, I don't want it. So
Yeah.
even in store, automate the things that could be automated so that the shopper that wants that, has that ability, but free up the people that you do have in store to be those helpers, use that technology and use that connectivity, to take things off of their plate that aren't adding to that human touch experience.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely spot on. I think when we talk about staffing shortages, it would be remiss to not talk about, okay, great, how do we free up people's time to be that expert? And the
Right.
solution is automation. It can't turn all one or not, right? You need to have that in place to even have the potential to have experts on the floor.
I believe so. We work with a lot of folks on, one of the things that Ricoh does, for people who don't know Ricoh, we're not just a printer company. We do print stuff, and we can help you with that, with scan stuff. We do a lot of workflow automation. And if
Mm.
you think about in your typical store, there's a lot of workflows, right? So how can you make everything from, stocking shelves to checking out customers to doing things more efficient? And how do you take things that aren't really customer supportive functions, and automate, or make those things a lot less part of a retail employee's day? And that's the things that we're trying to think about with co-innovation projects with retailers every day.
No, that's awesome. I remember when we were joking about the Whole Foods return experience for Amazon. I'm like, some things are just easier self-service, man.
If
Some things are just
they
great self-service.
Yeah, yeah, it is, and it's interesting, and you think about that self service process, even, how could you just automate that whole process for a known customer? You know, so if you think about it, if you're a loyalty member of, I'm a Harris Teeter shopper, right? And maybe I need to, so I'm a known member to them. If I give them my number or my phone, it's usually my phone number. I have no idea what my my shopper number is. But
Yeah.
imagine, okay, I've got a return. I scan it myself. I take it to the store. I put it in an area, and they just give me credit for it, right? And those kinds of solutions, I think, are quickly coming. And I think the consumer expectation is it's that easy, because it's that easy at Amazon,
It's that
and
easy at
every
Amazon. You should do it too, right?
yeah, exactly. Exactly. I don't even have to think about it, And then what an opportunity when, if I do want to return something at a store, I think it's a great opportunity, because then I'm at a store. What else could I be doing there?
Yeah.
I'm already there. I'm gonna buy other things. I think I told you back in my Walmart days, we were rolling out Redbox,
Hmm.
and we were worried about, the entertainment folks were worried about the cannibalization. We sold a lot of DVDs then, right?
Hmm.
And what we learned very quickly was there was a massive incremental basket that happened when that customer came and rented a movie from Redbox, brought that movie back, and they still bought movies. It didn't slow our DVD sales down a bit at that point. So you really got to think about what's the experience that I'm coming for, and what else, what are the ancillary benefits of that in terms of basket and additional shops and trips?
Yeah, no, I didn't even think about that piece. And I think, we talked a lot about that quote that you featured in that article you wrote, right? Find the engagement the customer wants. It has to tie in right to ROI for the business, right?
Yeah,
You want self-service, but you want them to buy more, right? So it has to
sure.
be proven, it has to have that LTV. But I'd love to kind of get your take on the importance of real relevance and understanding, the real-time needs and pain points of these customers. And, when it comes to automating, how do you not automate too much to the point where,
Sure, sure.
right, you're not getting any engagement from that customer?
Well, that was your quote. That was your. I was quoting you in a call we had been on. I was saying, that makes sense. It is, I think the relevance today is providing that customer the customer wants. To your point, in a way that's economically beneficial to both parties. Um, if you think about what's happening today, um, I believe in a lot of cases, I can get the same kind of products from a lot of places. So my connectivity to the store uh, becomes a lot, it's a
Mhm.
lot weaker bond than when I had to go to the store to get my Sunsweet dates or whatever, right? I can get this from a lot of people, but I'm probably going to go to Harris Teeter this week, right? Because I'm probably going to go shop for a trip. So what is that? What's that hook? It's still geography to some point because
Mhm.
not go to Harris Teeter because it's the closest store to me. So it just is. But how does that really start to become relevant to a customer? So there's a big conversation going on today about self check or no self check, right?
Mhm.
There's some conversations about stores going to all self check. I believe the CEO of Trader Joe's came out and says we will never do self check, and it started a conversation. And then there's the, I forget if it was Sweden or Finland or there was a chain that had a, really focused actually on a slow checkout line, and it was for people who wanted to talk to that cashier when they were checking out. They could just like to talk, or they could
Yeah.
be lonely. So maybe retail is part of their social interaction. I mean, there's a lot of reasons, right? There's a lot of reasons that we go to retail that are beyond just getting the bag of dates. Um, so I think really understanding what that customer's motivation is. I think about home improvement
Mhm.
every time I go into a Lowe's, I enjoy talking to the people and getting their advice and stuff. And I can do that online. I could Google it or I could ask ChatGPT or whatever. But really having somebody show me a product, tell me about that product, understand how that works is important to me in that channel, in that environment.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because there's a lot less of a focus of just having the product they need. Because you're right, that's not important today.
That's
Amazon,
table stakes. Yeah.
yeah, they ship
Right.
you 6 packets of dates before the day ends.
Yeah.
You know,
Dates.
it's finding a way to combine, the inventory and the ease of use and also your people. And, we joked about the Trader Joe's piece, but man, I've gotten the best compliments I've ever gotten in the Trader Joe's line. If I wear a
Nice.
good dress, they
Yeah.
always, my husband doesn't comment on it first, the Trader Joe's person does.
Right. Oh, I love it. I love it. So you get your
So no,
haircut and
I'm
go to Trader
always,
Joe's.
yeah, I'm on the spot, but I'm always a huge fan of finding that right touch. And I think
Yeah.
as retailers, they're so focused on training. My reps need to be so good at upsell, cross sell, and that's tough with high staff shortages. But it is
Sure.
really cool to see brands that focus on, maybe my reps don't have to necessarily be experts, but they just have to be really great people. They just
Sure.
have to have really great people skills.
Right.
So let's go into combining physical and digital, not just being the Amazon, because that's real tough to compete with. But
Yeah.
why is omnichannel really truly the perfect combo for retail today? Um,
It's
what's
it's still it's still that point of the store, right? What is the store there for, right? And I do think there is a social aspect. There's a human a connectivity aspect that we enjoy about retail. but had a conversation with there's a new cohort, and again, you can't lump everybody in. All
Mhm.
Gen Xers, all millennials, all Gen Z are not the same. So forget that. But there are some commonalities. My daughter doesn't want to talk to anybody when she goes into a store, right? And so how do you help her via, this device or a kiosk or whatever? How is that connectivity going? And I increasingly think it's by the device I already have. I've got the world's information in my pocket, and with a
Mhm.
QR code, you can connect me to anything.
Yeah.
So it was awesome in COVID that the QR code, which had died an ugly death because people put their TV ads or something at the end of a QR code, became
Oh,
functional devices that could help, right? So now when I'm in a department, I'm in the baking department at my store. Is there a connectivity that I could either get more information, get recipes and things, and those are kind of level one. But could I connect to, could I aggregate somebody's labor and have a human at the end of that QR code that could potentially help me through that process? I was talking about this with a friend of mine in the POS business the other day. We were in a restaurant. Had met for a beer, and we had the greatest bartender. We loved talking to this guy, but he was so busy helping people get their to-go order, and helping people
yeah.
place their to-go order. I said, why don't you replace that guy with a QR code that has somebody who's serving that need, still is face to face, but then that person is serving another human. Again, there's all kinds of ideas, but to your point, thinking about what is the most relevant to that customer. When I'm
Yeah.
make the trouble to go to a bar and sit and have a beer with somebody, I enjoy that conversation with that person.
Yeah, no, I think it's about offering both. I think you're right on the money there. It's, there's some consumers, whether they're Gen Z or not, they're going to want to interact real time. Maybe they have social anxiety. Maybe it's just not who they are. They don't want that
Sure.
law expert advice. And
Yep.
I joke because I'm the person that's going up to Trader Joe's rep and saying, what's good here? What should I be getting? Tell me everything I need.
Right. You're
My
having that
cousin,
conversation.
yeah,
Right.
my college cousin, she goes in, she watches TikTok before she even steps into Trader Joe's to
But
see
she
what
already
people
knows.
are talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah. She makes her
Yeah.
list and then she comes home, she reviews it on TikTok. And her friends love consuming and learning about products
Yeah.
through social media. It just works for them real well. So,
Right.
no, I love that. And I think the last question we'll taper it in, but I feel like we covered it. What's the future gold standard of retail, right? We're automating, we're getting there, we're putting the technology out, and I think Ricoh's doing a real good job of paving the way of offering some of those pieces. But what's the ideal balance for a
It,
retail?
it's a it's a great question because I do think the key word there is it is going to be a balance because even Amazon is seeking more personal touch points. I think they're going to buy another retailer, probably in the near term.
Yeah,
You know the Rite Aid is probably vulnerable, and Amazon wants to be more in health.
they do.
Albertsons, Kroger has to divest a bunch of stores to complete their. There's going to be some opportunities for them, but I think their Whole Foods experience, and if you look how that is kind of coming together, they keep testing, and they definitely don't have it figured out, but they definitely are trying different things. I don't know if you've done Pay with Palm at a store yet, and
I have
so
not done that.
yeah, it's a little creepy, but I mean, not it's simple, right? I don't need any I
Hey,
don't need any.
I think you and I are aligned. Bring on the creepy stuff. If you serve me better and
Yeah.
faster, you can have all my personal
Oh,
get it.
agreed, agreed. Yeah, just don't send me
That's
an email
awesome.
every day, or if
Honestly,
you
I
do, it
uh,
doesn't really matter.
I think this is version one because I could see us having 10 more podcasts just about Amazon's acquisitions and how now they're stepping into the physical world and getting away from the hands-off automation. But This was
But
perfect.
I think they want that touch, and I would imagine even one day with their delivery people maybe being part of that, but being a little more interactive and integrated. So it'll be interesting to see where they go. But then you've got these new forms of retail that are easily accessible to, well, new to us. My daughter spends an awful lot of her wallet with Sheen and with Timu, and
Yep.
those are Chinese companies, and I that have direct access to a very powerful and influential shopper in
Yeah.
our teens, and they like the integrated experience. Timu is a mess in my mind, because
Yeah.
you got all this crazy
It's what
it,
not to do in our standard marketing playbook, right? We're like, oh
yeah,
God.
but they love it. They
And it
love it.
works. Yeah.
They love it. I tried it. I'm always curious about retail, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try Temu. So I went through it and I got all the promotional stuff. So I got my little $15 Rolex, from Temu,
I bet you're
and it's
getting
not
on it too.
it's not a bad little watch. It was cool. So
There's a
anyway,
time and a place.
yeah, I just wanted to understand it though, and wow, like what an experience. I mean, not for me, but it's definitely something that you see coming, and I think this whole idea of super app is going to bleed from uh, the app space and the content providers
Hmm.
to the Walmart. We've got a chain here of Fresh Market is doing a lot with live shopping,
Yeah.
and to your point, kind of trying to capture some of that TikTok functionality with recipes and with other things. So
And it's working. No, this was
it's interesting time.
it really is. No, I think this was exactly what we wanted to cover. So John, I don't think we could ever scratch the surface on the gold standard of what
Yeah.
the real solution is, but I think you gave us a lot of really good points today.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to chat.